Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yo, we're live. Just got a sound check in the house. Let us know how we sound. How we're coming through in the chat. Some oranges in the chat.
Drop some oranges, drop some Puerto Rican flags.
Don't do that.
Show some support. X-Files, guys.
What's up, Marco?
Chilling, Juan. You know, I guess we should fill the people in a little bit here on what happened.
We should.
So, we had a guest planned. The guest fell through. Whatever. I guess, you know, as fate would have it, as phosphate would have it, maybe. I don't know. But this guy no-showed us, kind of. So we're rolling with the punches here. We got a backup plan. It's not going to be, it's not like it's an afterthought or like a lacking show or anything. Okay, this is a nice juicy topic here. And we're just keeping with our Thursday kind of movie Hollywood breakdowns. We are getting into X-Files. X-Files, I'd never watched X-Files too much. This is the first episode I've ever completely watched through. But I know a lot of people like X-Files in this community. And this one was set in Florida. I don't know if any of it was actually filmed. There we go. I was hoping we'd have that.
A little late, but I knew I had it in there somewhere.
So this one is set in Florida. Didn't you say it was filmed in Canada?
Yeah, well, I could be wrong on that. Let me double check because I know for a fact one of the ones that we were talking about was the one that in Boca Raton. That one for sure was filmed in Canada because apparently the X-Files has numerous episodes related to Florida that take place in Florida, such as the one that we're going to be talking about today. And also the other show, I don't know if you've ever watched it, American Horror Story, also has a similar episode like this one that relates to what we're going to be getting into that's also set in Florida, but I think it's on the East Coast and not the West Coast.
Yeah, I know about that one. I know about the American Horror Story. I didn't know X-Files had so many episodes set in Florida. It shouldn't surprise us, really. But so this episode's called Humbug, and it was season 2, episode 20. And it is kind of diving into the circus lore or the circus. The circus was often headquartered in Florida. So the Ringling Circus, and I can't really name any other ones, but yeah, well-known circuses were known to headquarter in Florida, or at least winter in Florida. And this is kind of a made-up circus, or it's kind of like a heavy metal circus, like Hollywood circus that like performs with a lot of heavy metal bands. That's who the circus performers were in the show. They were like part of an actual troupe, a lot of them. That's one cool part about this. But X-Files season 2, episode 20, it's all about circus freaks. So it's basically like a crime spree, a murder spree among circus freaks. And they're living in a community, a circus community in Florida, which is a real thing. And there's a couple towns in Florida, mostly around kind of the north side of Tampa Bay. What's this one called? Gibsonton? Gibsontonville?
Gibsonton.
Gibsonton. Thanks. Thanks, Juan.
Or
Gibsonton.
G-Town, I think is what they call it, something like that.
Yeah, Gibsonton is a circus town. So a lot of the circus workers, the freaks, if it's okay to say that, it's probably rude, who cares? But the ex-circus workers, the current circus workers, a lot of them, since they winter in Florida or are headquartered in Florida, they find Florida really comfortable. They just end up staying there, and they have these big communities of ex-circus performers or sometimes freaks. So the X-Files is kind of addressing that and making kind of a storyline out of it. And there's a murder right among this like circus community. And the first guy we'll just run through a quick little summary of the episode here is the first freak that we meet, he's the alligator man. So these kids are playing in the pool, and their dad, who is the alligator man, scares them and sneaks up and like jumps in the pool or scares them from under the pool. And you kind of, the way that they shoot it, it's like you don't know who it is at first, right? And then he surprises them, and then you're like, oh, it's his dad. It's the kid's dad, whatever. So you're like, oh, just the kid's dad. He has this disease, makes him look like a freak, like an alligator. But whatever, the kids are happy to see their dad again. He was gone. He surprised them. Okay. Well, then the kids go into sleep. And then the dad's just chilling in the pool. And then, boom, he gets shaboomed, kabanged. He gets KILLED. Gets mordored, okay? Might get demonetized here. Might get demonetized here.
Yeah, we're demonetized, guys. That's why we're not streaming to the main channel. We got nuked.
Yeah.
It's all good though.
RIP one-on-one podcast. But so alligator man gets killed. He gets killed. Okay. Yeah, he got bodied. And mysterious.
See you later, alligator.
You kind of get a glimpse of what did it. It's like a freakish little creature, but you don't get a real good look at it. Okay. He's just dead. So then next morning or whatever, the X-Files team is called in. And they're like, oh, this guy looks really weird. The circumstances were very strange. The entry wound is unusual. They don't know what type of weapon it was. The tracks that this creature made were very unusual, right? So they call the X-Files people, FBI, Freak Squad, Freak Unit is on the case. And she makes a funny joke about how she's like, look, what's her name?
Scully, I think.
Scully's the woman.
Yeah.
Scully's looking at a picture of him, and she's like, oh, could you imagine living like this your whole life? It's like, dang, bitch, come on, take it. He's not that bad looking. Fucking. And yeah, but that's the guy. His like whole family's there, or whatever. The FBI agents are at the funeral, which I just thought was hilarious. Right? Can you imagine? So they get introduced to the circus community at the funeral. They drive into Florida. They're staying in the circus town area. And something, well, we'll get into it. The funeral happens. They lay the alligator man to rest. And then we're introduced to like the leader of the circus troupe, who's an actual, forgot
the priest.
the chaplain priest has no arms. He's flipping the Bible with his feet, which I guess maybe you could see as like heretical or sacrilegious in a way. Maybe not. But so yeah, he's a freak. It's like everyone in the town's a freak. Okay. We're introduced to the leader, and the leader of this circus troupe, he's a real life famous Hollywood circus guy. He plays with like Marilyn Manson and Korn, and he does like heavy metal, kind of like scary and sketchy, somewhat Chris Angel style, David Blaine style, magic freak stuff. But what's interesting is he claims to have, a little bit later in the movie, this guy, he claims to have studied with the mystics in Tibet and India and learned the ancient like Vedic, wisdom and, the yoga poses. And he's kind of, gained control of his nervous system and stuff like this. So, the writers are kind of going deep with their inspiration, or I don't know if this guy was just kind of telling his real story. Kind of like a Chris Angel style fellow. I forget his name. But then they meet all the freaks, and yeah, funeral ends. This guy like nails a stake like into his heart, like right into his heart. He starts bleeding. They have to like drag him out, whatever. So they also get to know the sheriff here, right? Like the sheriff, and they don't know this yet, but he actually is an ex-freak, and he doesn't tell them that. And he has a lot of opportunities to tell them that, and it would have kind of made sense to tell them that, but he doesn't tell them. So later on, they get suspicious about it. But yeah, this is all set around Gibsonton. But apparently, at some point, they stay. I don't know if it's on the way to this place or if it's just something they say. But apparently, they stay in Gulfview. Did you see that one?
I didn't catch that. No. Oh, right here, Gulf Breeze trailer. What is that? Let's see if that's a real place in Florida.
That might be.
It is a city in Florida.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Gulf Breeze UFO incident. So search Gulf Breeze. They're staying at the Gulf Breeze trailer court. Mulder and Scully stay at the Gulf Breeze trailer court. Now, what's interesting is Gulf Breeze is a direct reference to the Gulf Breeze UFO incident. And they don't really go into it in the show, but yeah.
A series of claimed UFO sightings in Gulf Breeze, Florida, United States during 1987, early 1988. Beginning in November 1987, the Gulf Breeze Sentinel newspaper published a number of photos supplied to them by local contractor Ed Walters that were claimed to show a UFO. Ufologists such as Bruce Maccabee believed the photographs were genuine. However, others strongly suspected them to be a hoax. So Pensacola News Journal reporter Craig Myers investigated Walters' claims a few years later, criticizing the Sentinel's coverage as the story was uncritical and sensationalist. In 1990, after Walters and his family had moved, the new owners of their house discovered a styrofoam model UFO hidden in the attic. Myers was able to duplicate the object in Walters' photograph almost exactly using the model UFO. Walters later claimed that the model UFO had been planted in the attic. Of course, you got to blame the Illuminati, bro.
Capital T, they definitely put that in the attic. I don't know where that came from, guys.
Whoa, dude. This is I'm gonna find the pictures.
But yeah, so a subtle reference to the Gulf Breeze UFO incident. But again, and some of the commenters pointed out, that's closer to Pensacola. They are in the show, they're supposed to be closer to Tampa Bay. So I don't know if they stayed there on the way down or if they just kind of hodgepodged these places together in like a fictional way.
Oh, more than
But
likely.
yeah. So they go on to stay at this place, and they're staying with a lot of freaks and ex-freaks or ex-circus workers. And the owner of this establishment, this trailer court, is actually the midget, the dwarf, the short guy from Twin Peaks.
Yes.
And I don't know his name.
I got
but
it pulled
it's
up here.
the guy from Twin Peaks, and he does the talking backwards and stuff like that. Interesting little fella. And
Michael J. Anderson.
Michael J. Anderson. Hell yeah. Yakubian offspring confirmed.
Oh man. Yeah, did you ever watch that Twin Peaks?
Yeah, I have watched Twin Peaks.
The movies too?
What was his name? Michael J. Anderson?
Michael J. Anderson. Yeah, known as the man from another place. He was the guy in
Midget
the
Mike?
dreams. Yeah, Midget Mike.
Shout out to you. Not sure.
And he also played Samson in another HBO series, Carnival, which I guess it's about more carnival stuff. So I guess when you
Ooh, Masonic lore. Whoa.
Great Depression,
The show's mythology draws upon themes and motifs from traditional Christianity and Gnosticism, together with Masonic lore, particularly that of the Knights Templar Order. Wow.
I don't think I ever saw this one. It takes place there. Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Gulf Breeze. This guy, he's the owner. He runs a tight shift. Looks like tight ship. Tight shift. What's the expression?
I think it's tight ship.
Tight ship. Yeah. Runs a tight ship. And this show's very PC. That's what I noticed. It's like there's a lot of kind of lectures and little like kind of, I don't know.
This is the first ever X-Files episode you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty PC because they keep working in like little, remember Scully, or remember Mulder. It's not nice to call them freaks, or like, remember, they're people too, and you can't judge them just based off of. He's like, oh, did you assume that I was also part of the circus because of my height? How dare you, and stuff like that. Now,
take notes, Longo.
Yeah, moralizing. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. This guy. So whatever. He's like, yeah, you guys can stay. All the freaks are staying around the place too. And yeah, let's keep going. So we're introduced to this guy. Okay, his name is Lenny, or his twin is named Lenny. Lanny. Okay, sorry, Lanny. We're introduced to Lanny and Leonard. We're introduced to Lanny and Leonard, and I think I have this right. Lanny is the one who talks, and he's, walking, talking normal, and Leonard is attached to him. So this tall, big guy with the receding hairline, he has an attached twin, like a little limp, kind of lame Siamese twin type thing attached to him. Conjoined twin. And he hides it, or it's got like it's his own shirt on and stuff. But he seems nice and normal. He drinks a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I'm an ex-circus performer. And okay. We're introduced to this guy. Nothing suspicious, really. They go, they're staying there, and then I think the next morning there's another murder. Someone got murdered, right? Can we move forward a little bit, Juan? Remind me who it is.
this guy, the House of Terrors guy, the
Okay, yeah.
Tabernacle of Terrors, which he runs allegedly like a freak show type of thing attraction. He's like, don't call it that, you know.
Yeah, he makes like zombie faces and like almost like taxidermy type stuff. He makes scary stuff. And apparently, yeah, he gets snuck up on. This little creature kills him. And again, we don't get a great look at it. And then boom, it just goes to the next morning where Mulder, is that his name?
Yeah.
Mulder, Fox Mulder. Wow. What a cool name. Fox Mulder he's out running and he sees one of these freaks who's like tattooed head to toe. He's eating a fish with his bare hands, right? Carnivore culture style. All right, guys, this is a great time to shout out our sponsor here tonight, Carnivore Culture TM, for sponsoring the video. We've got fresh roadkill protein snacks. Don't let that good protein go to waste, guys.
That's right.
Good animals that they don't want you eating. Okay.
You gonna go on a vegan rant on this episode, or
No.
all right, good.
No, I'm gonna go on a Puerto Rico rant.
Do it.
All right, just kidding. So he sees this guy eating a fish out of the river, and it's nasty. He goes right in for it, and then he scurries off like he doesn't explain himself. Totally looks suspicious. Runs away. Okay. And then he starts suspecting him. This Mulder guy, he starts suspecting him. Scully wakes up. She's got her fucking tits hanging out all over the place. Okay.
Wood.
This guy walks up and he's got his little twin hanging out of his robe. So it's like a funny little, they're both looking at each other's junk kind of hanging out. And he lets her know that there was another murder. Okay. So they go investigate. They find this guy dead. They got a whole lot of suspects, not much to go off of.
The point of entry too, it's like on the side, similar to what the guy with the twin has on his side too. So there's an entry wound that they all share, and it's in the same area. So just to keep that in mind, right? Some subtle foreshadowing, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So they see he crawled in through the window, and they don't know what did it. They're like, man, he must be a contortionist. He must be crazy contortionist. And then it switches scenes to the leader of the circus troupe. And he's doing something crazy and kind of contortionist. He's hanging upside down, like, what's his name? Houdini,
yeah.
Above like a boiling pot of water. And he gets out of it. And yeah. But they suspect him of being the killer because of a couple different clues, because of how he's acting and because of the skills necessary to commit the crimes. So they interview him. Oh yeah, he talks about sucking his testicles up into his abdomen.
Yeah, that was weird. Right?
And here,
After he had put a nail in his nose.
He put a nail in his nose. He introduces them to his friend. He feeds him some crickets. Yeah. Yeah, they got his blood, though. So they got his blood from the nail that he stuck into his skull. And they're going to go test it. Now, she goes looking, I guess, on another side of town, goes into the museum, kind of like a circus or freak museum. And she's introduced to this guy who literally has a ball sack on his face. He's his deformity is literally a ball sack on his face, and you don't see it till like the end. There it is.
There's a good shot right
There
there.
it is.
You got
Yeah,
that. He's a Balchinian.
dude. Yeah. So he's got nuts on his face. She's trying to get out of there. He scams her out of $5, but he gives her a clue. And she gets a clue about the sheriff, about how the sheriff used to be a freak. And now she starts suspecting the sheriff. And she's like, oh, I got to race back to the trailer park. Might be the sheriff. And when this Mulder guy, he goes over to Scully's trailer to check in on her, update each other. And he finds this little midget Mike under her trailer, you know, up to no good, seems like. And he gives him another lecture. He's like, oh, you're assuming the worst. How dare you? And then Scully comes out. They talk. They confirmed the blood on the nail was like, it matched, but the blood type matched, but they didn't know if it was the right DNA. So they needed to wait a little bit more. Okay, so she tells him that the sheriff used to be a freak and that he withheld that information. So they start suspecting him. You know, why would he do that? They go start spying on him, kind of tailing him, watching what he's doing, and they see him burying some stuff. They go to investigate. It's just a bunch of potatoes. And they're like, oh, shit. And then the sheriff comes out with a flashlight and catches them going through his potatoes, digging through his stuff. He's like, what the hell? And then he's like, yep, that's me. I was the dog man. I was the dog face. Hairy face dog man. And yeah, we're gonna dive into all the little kind of symbolisms and mythical creatures, you know, one by one after we get through the whole summary here. But so yeah, the sheriff is like, he comes clean. He's like, yeah, I used to be the dog face guy. Well, then we see the freak, the guy who likes to eat stuff, the tattooed guy. He's chasing a dog. Chases it back to Midget Mike's house. Barely misses the dog. The dog makes it in. The freak tattooed
Probably
freak
gonna
guy.
eat it, bro.
Yeah, he was trying to eat it. He pays his rent to Midget Mike. Midget Mike is like, all right, see you later. Then someone knocks on the door or something. And Midget Mike is like, hey, who's there at the door? You know, I've got a gun. And then this little creature grabs him through the door, sneaks in through the door, sneaks into the doggy door because he's doggy sized. So now we're given more further evidence that this thing is small. It's not like normal human sized, whatever this creature is that's doing the killing. Comes in through the doggy door, kills him, and boom, we've got another murder on our hands. Same thing the next morning. The guy with the adjoined twin tells Scully, hey, we got another murder. This time they find evidence. They find like a pin in his hand or something, a flower or pin, needle, I forget, in his hand that indicates it was the leader of the circus troupe. So now they think they know for sure. Oh, it's the leader of the circus troupe. We definitely got him. They go over to arrest him. He resists. They arrest him. And he's crazy too. Like he won't reason with them. So they're like, all right, this guy is definitely the killer. Yeah, they find him hooking needles or
Fishing hooks.
yeah, fishing hooks through himself. It's like an ancient Native American ritual. Yeah. And then they arrest him. Seems like they have their guy. And then when they go to jail, they find this, what's his name?
Lanny
and Leonard curled up. He's moaning. And turns out Leonard, his adjoined twin, has left his body. So his adjoined twin, who we think up until now we assumed was lame and like limp. Now he disappeared.
Let me find the clip of the thing, because I think they showed it at some point before this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. Did they show it at the end or when he attacks the little dude? It might be. I don't want to play it on air, but let me see if we see the thing's face. Because I could have swore we saw it before the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because like towards the end they don't show it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. So, oh, they do show it, but they show it like really weirdly. They don't show the whole thing. I'm gonna play it like really quickly, so you can see it's obviously something like small and pink and freakish looking.
Mm-hmm. But we never really get a good look at his twin either.
Here we go. Ready? So we just see that. We just see how, we have like a mouth or whatever, and then he's screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we see there. I think we get a better, clearer picture towards the end.
So they realize it was his adjoined twin. The adjoined twin left his body, like pulled a hole, like just left a wound in his body, kind of just departed from his body. Snuck out through the window. The thing's tiny. It went through the bars, went out through the window. And yeah, basically, that's this guy's all sick. He gives some sad spiel about missing his brother and not being loved by his brother, and covering for his murderous adjoined twin, and like he kind of knew it already. So now they're hunting this little thing, and apparently he can scurry around pretty fast. And they go into the House of Mirrors, like the freak room,
the Tabernacle of Terror.
Tabernacle of Terror. Can't catch him. He runs away. And then eventually he runs back over to the trailer park, and boom, he bumps into the freak with the tattoos who likes to eat everything. And the thing disappears. He is kind of knocked unconscious, it seems, or he's playing unconscious. And they're like, where'd the thing go? And then the next morning, they're still looking for the creature. And Tattoo Man and the leader of the circus troupe, they're ready to leave. They're hightailing it out of town.
He's patting his stomach and it's growling, so...
Yeah. He's got it in his stomach, is basically what we find out. And they're leaving. It's like they got the catch of a lifetime. They're trying to get out of there before anyone realizes. And then Scully and Mulder kind of look to each other at the very end because he says some suspicious stuff. And they're like, oh, wow. Whatever. Case closed, I guess. So that's how it ends. This guy runs away. And
he takes Homeboy with him.
Not the most entertaining thing I've ever watched, but lots and lots of interesting Florida lore, especially the circus. I talk about the circus and Freemasonry a lot, right? And Juan, of course, talks a lot about homunculi. And what is this little tiny adjoined twin, if not some type of homunculus type creature? But let's kind of run it back from the beginning. And we already talked about why they kind of set this in Florida, but maybe we'll talk about the circus a little bit. We never really look at the circus or get a good look at the circus in this episode. It's more about like circus performers or freaks, sideshows they call them, right? But and I forgot to mention it. It starts off with talking about a real kind of attraction, you could say, that was part of the Barnum and Bailey like sideshow, and that was the mermaid, Fiji mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
the Fijian mermaid, they called it, similar to what Juan's showing there, Jake the Alligator Man. But the Fiji mermaid was a real thing, and apparently this was housed in Florida at one point.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
So I know for sure that Jake
Could be
the
wrong.
Alligator, November 9th, 1993, a half human, half alligator discovered in Florida swamp. But right now it's in Long Beach, Washington. And apparently in this newspaper from 93, they did a postcard where allegedly it was found in the swamps. He's not being studied by evil scientists who pulled him out of the Florida swamp. More on that important development later. So, right, this is kind of similar to the squallies, the Florida squallies. We talked about the half man, half pig hybrid, and how maybe perhaps the government is testing on things out in the Everglades and setting them loose, or they're getting loose. So I think, I don't know if Alligator Man is part of like cryptids of Florida. I'm sure there's something like that, but I know for a fact there's like giant alligators, skunk ape. I've seen people talk about dogman sightings in Florida as well, like things like that. There's those sort of cryptids and a few others. But yeah, I found it interesting that this one was found in the Florida swamps, and he is being housed. He was acquired by a museum for $750 in 1967, where he is currently being kept. I don't know if the mermaid was ever in Florida. Let's look this up. Let's see.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was at the Ringling Museum at one point.
Yeah, let's look it up real quick. Is it this? Dr. Wilson's? No.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I might be confusing it with Jake the Alligator. Alligator Man.
So I didn't know when we had landed on this episode. I thought it was purely fictional. I thought it was completely fake, right? And it just took place in Florida. Turns out that Gibsonton, Florida, is what they refer to as, where is it at here? It is known for housing people who were on the off season of the circus, right? So Gibsonton was famous as a sideshow wintering town where various people in the carnival and circus businesses would spend the off season, placing it near the winter home for the Ringling Brothers Circus at Tampa, Sarasota, and Venice in various times. I thought it was just the show. Gibsonton, like, that's it. Cool, it's Florida. We can talk about it. No, it turns out that this place is actually known for that. Like, it's an actual thing. They call Gibsonton the last freak show town in America. Obviously, this is 10 years old, but it has I believe it was the sheriff at one point was also like 6 feet tall or something like that. I got it.
6 feet?
No, 7'4". I'm sorry.
6 feet.
Al the Giant Tomani, sideshow entertainer who was 7'4". He was also the town's fire chief deputy and owned a restaurant and television repair shop. So he wasn't the
hell yeah. The half woman? Damn, he had a tiny little wife.
Yeah, she was like 2 feet tall, I think it was.
Shut up. Dude.
He was hitting that, bro. Pull the picture now.
My boy was hitting that little.
He was tearing it up, bro.
Dude, for real.
So right here he is.
She had no legs.
Yeah. Still,
Damn,
I mean, that's kind of weird.
She was a little fuck nugget.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So yeah, she was that. I guess you could call it that. Yeah. So, where were we here? Just be serious for 1 second, bro. So yeah, that's him and his wife, Alan Janini Tomani, former retirement community about 10 miles south.
Damn.
World's strangest married couple.
She had no legs and he had 3.
Yeah. Her parents took her on the road. Can you imagine? I mean, it's kind of messed up, right? That if you have this sort of build or this sort of, deformity, that your only thing to be able to do is like sideshow freak stuff. That's kind of messed up. Like this, dwarf guy from Twin Peaks, all his roles have been kind of sort of freakish, right? It's kind of messed up,
Why is it messed up? They're messed up.
Yeah, well, it was home to Priscilla, the monkey girl, the anatomical wonder, and the lobster boy. And so apparently this was a lobster boy who had hands like
What? Lobster hands?
yeah, kind of sort of. Here, let me pull him up.
Oh, he had like where's
He was a murderer? What the hell is this? Grady Franklin Styles Jr. was an American freak show performer and murderer. What? Hold on. Right here. Those were his hands. Yeah, like little. And apparently he went from circus act to murderer. I didn't see this part.
Damn, dude.
That's crazy, dude. Let me see what the murder of Lobster Boy. Lobster Boy's gal guilty in Sideshow slay, but Maria Teresa and her now grown children were not without their limits. Grady had evaded prison and gained a sense of being above the law, and thus the beatings became more severe. His wife had finally reached her breaking point. A few years later, after she remarried Styles, she paid her 17-year-old neighbor, Chris Wyatt, $1,500 to kill him. Maria Teresa's son from another marriage, Glenn, helped her conceive the idea and carry out the plan. One night, Wyatt took a .32 Colt automatic he had a friend purchase for him in Styles' trailer and shot him dead at point blank range.
Damn. So what? So Lobster Boy got killed?
I'm thinking that's what, yeah.
So he didn't kill anyone. Why'd he get called a murderer?
Yeah, that's weird, right? Here, where the hell is it?
Or was Grady Steele the guy who killed Lobster Boy?
Come on.
Dude, all these fucking tabs open.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
You ever used a goddamn computer before?
You're jumping around too much. I was trying to keep it a little cohesive, and you're just like Lobster Boy and this and that, and now I lost it. Right here. His deformed is genetic, which is fingers, but he says murder and murder. Wouldn't it be murdered? Because Styles, right, was his name. Styles shot and killed his oldest daughter's fiance.
Oh.
It's crazy.
He was not sent to prison. Instead, sentenced to house arrest and 15 years probation. Oh, yeah. Wait, go down.
Down?
Go down. Oh, yeah. Right. So he was a murderer and he got murdered. Damn.
Karma's a
boy.
Karma's a bitch, bro. But again, and nobody volunteered as a pallbearer to carry his coffin. That's fucked up. But I mean, it's crazy he was still even able to shoot a gun, right? With his little hands. Shot and killed his oldest daughter's fiance on the eve of their wedding. That's wild, dude. And then he got taken out. What was his 1978? And he died when? 1992. So he lived quite a long time. He lived till he was 55.
Yeah. Damn. Gibsonton resident. Well, yeah, Juan, like you're saying, Gibsonton is known for, and just the whole area, Sarasota, Venice, Gibsonton, some of the more rural areas around there too, are circus towns. Ex-circus workers, ex-freaks. It's also known for elephants. So I've talked about elephants a lot And we've talked about Bok Tower, about another anomalous, mysterious kind of circus-related story with a small person who got caught stealing oranges around Bok Tower. This was a kind of a police response. Like the police got called to a thief. And that's how we know, because it got documented by the police, that they caught a little man, a tiny little man, like smaller than a human, smaller than a child. They caught him stealing oranges. And they noticed that oranges had been going missing around this place in Florida, Bok Tower. So they caught this guy near Bok Tower, brought him to the police station, and they assumed he was with the circus. They were like, this guy's real. He's living. He's breathing. You know, he's unusual. Well, instead of thinking alien or garden gnome, they just thought he must be a circus performer. Clearly. I mean, what else can he be? And the circus is not far from here. There's circus performers who live nearby. So they start calling the circus people. They don't know anything about him. They're like, he's not with us. We don't know who that is. You know, all our midgets are accounted for. Okay. And they got this guy behind bars or in jail, and apparently the police station was surrounded, and it was
midget made orange juice. It's interesting because I think Minute Maid, the factory is actually in Lake Wales, if I'm not mistaken. Like
close.
That's a good one right there. Midget made orange juice. That's a sticker, bro. Right there. Write that down.
That's funny. Midget made orange juice. That is. Write that down, dude.
I'm gonna write it down right now. Thank you to what the chief knows. The chief knows wetter. Writing that one down.
Midget made orange juice. Midget made lemonade.
And then we could put a picture of a little gnome
Yeah.
and kind of copy the Minute Maid logo.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we could put like a little gnome or something around here. Yeah, we'll forget. Damn, thanks for the ideas. Keep them rolling.
Good merch idea.
Was he Little Lenny?
So, yeah, that might have been a partial inspiration for this story. Who knows? For this X-Files episode. Whatever. I just thought that was worth bringing up.
Yeah, no, that was actually a good story. We they had arrested him, apparently took him to the police station, and when they took him to the police station, they started hearing rocks and things being thrown at the window, and when they looked outside, it was a whole horde of little gnomes that were attacking the police station. So they're like, yo, this is crazy. We got to let him go. So they let him go. And then they actually got some priest in like Scotland or something to bless a rock. And they said, put the rock in the center of the orange grove. And that's going to drive them away. And allegedly they never showed back up again. And how the story goes is that rock is still out there. So you can try and go out. Well, don't go trespassing, but you can go out and essentially find this rock somewhere that I don't think anyone knows where it is, but that's part of the story. Let me pull up here the Ringling Brothers Circus. I think they're still around, aren't they? I could have swore I've gotten like the little free tickets from them. You know those ticket books that sometimes they give away for free?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Ringling though?
Yeah, Ringling's still around. The circus is still around. It's operated by the Feld family, which is, guys, go check out my Elephants of Atlantis video, or Ancient Elephants Prove Florida Was Atlantis. That's a real good video. But the Ringling Circus, let's just talk about the circus for a sec. Okay, why are there so many circus workers in Florida? Well, Florida is considered one of the great states of Freemasonry. You know what else is headquartered in Florida, in addition to the Ringling Circus and many of the other great circuses? The Shriners. And guess what, guys? Who runs some of the biggest circuses in America? The Shriners.
Really?
Yes, the Shriners. Their whole kind of aesthetic is Moorish, just like much of the Ringling stuff, circus stuff. Red and white, fezzes, monkeys with the vests and the fezzes in the tent. Yeah, search Shriner Circus. Yeah, just go on Wikipedia. Shrine Circus. Right there, first one.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh, this is crazy, bro. Affiliated with the former ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, now Shriners International. That's wild, bro. I had no idea about this.
Yeah, and also it's not so Freemasonry. You can just ask the AI. They'll on Google. You can search Freemasonic origins of circus, of the circus. So circus started out as the Freemasonic tent festivals. Yeah. And also, guys, all of the Ringling brothers were Freemasons, Master Masons, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, thank you in the comments for pointing it out. In order to be a Shriner, you have to be a Master Mason. That's one of the requirements to become a Shriner. It's like a Freemasonic adjacent community.
Why though, Longo? Why is it what is the does the circus have a deeper an occult significance in Freemasonry or any of these organizations? Because that's such a, and when you think of the circus, you think of something kind of sort of silly. But if you look at clowns that are also in the circus that are linked to the Nephilim, is that like kind of sort of where it's going, like demonic
Yes.
sort of thing, right?
Yes. Now, what's interesting is that the Ringling brothers were all part of, we're all Masons, like I said. And they were actually involved with set design and a lot of the kind of showmanship or performative acts that the Masons would do. So they would like set little shows, like stage little shows and little mock rituals and things like that. And they'd be very kind of theatric. And there's a couple different theaters in America that are Freemasonic.
A lot of them. Isn't the Jimmy Fallon show like shot in a Freemasonic theater?
Mm-hmm. And the Ringling brothers got started with set design there. Then they got in bed with the Barnum and Bailey Circus and took over the circus. Now, Ringling, they're apparently German. They don't look too German. I could be wrong, but, Ringling brothers, they had a obsession with Venetian things. So they built that house in Sarasota. Venetian architecture. The name was Venetian. Right? What's this thing about Venetian? They kind of look Venetian. They don't look real German. Who knows?
They all look the same. They might be homunculuses of themselves, bro. Look at that. They all look the same in this picture.
Dude, it's almost like they're brothers.
Well, they're doppelgangers.
Whoa.
They come from the same seed, technically, right?
Yeah, guys, they were totally Chinese. Yingling. The Yingling conspiracy. But the Ringling brothers were all Freemasons, guys. That's a fact. Barnum and Bailey, I don't know, but the Ringling brothers were. So you asked, what's the point? Well, the circus as we know it actually got started in part by what we know. I mean, I don't know much about it, but it's called I don't know what it's called, but when the Freemasons would go out of town, away from the town, and do like a tent festival. So if you search Freemasonic tent festival, this is part of the inspiration some of the components that went into.
This
No,
festival.
no, it's like older. They look just like the Ringling Circus tents.
Hold on. Where we at?
There. Top.
Which one?
Up a little bit in the center, to the left. Nope, to the right. That one. Yeah, I've seen that. So it's like theater. I guess they would do theater or whatever out in the woods. Something like that.
Very Shakespearean of them, right?
And this is part of what went into the circus as we know it today. Now, there's a lot of kind of conspiracy theories here, so bear with me. I just want to get them all out there, not saying this is, everything I believe, but the circus. What is the circus? We could take it the Nephilim clown route, the adrenochrome harvesting route.
Come on, dude.
The Shriners Child Hospitals, Jimmy Savile,
Oh my God,
Jimmy Seville route. Okay. Or we could take it the hidden American animals, about there being significant populations of camel, elephant, lion, cheetah, things like that, present in America after the Civil War. Now, that is part of the, it's kind of like the Tartaria Moorish Empire circus conspiracy. So part of the Moorish Empire conspiracy, Greater Morocco, and all this stuff, is that Freemasons are like mocking the original Moorish sciences, and that the Shriners wear their fez, and the Shriners, who are headquartered in Tampa Bay, not far from where the circus is, not far from Ringling, and the Ringling brothers probably had something to do with the Shriners. They were definitely Masons. At least one of them was a master Mason. And the Shriners, not only do they run children's hospitals, that's what they're known for, children's hospitals. They run circuses. They dress up like they're in the circus. And they do like the whole monkey, like they'll have monkeys, and they'll do charity, like festivals, events, parades. They always do parades. They'll have monkeys. They'll be dressed in fezzes, and they'll have little clown bikes, and they'll be on their little clown cars, riding little clown cars through the street like full-grown men, like they're clowns. Super bizarre. They're all master Masons. It's totally creepy. They have like a pirate, Moorish, Muslim theme. Everything written on them says like Muslim ambassador to Morocco is what a lot of them say on the hat. But it differs, right? A lot of black Shriners too. But the Moors, like, again, not all the Moors, not the whole Moorish community thinks the same, but the Moorish, like we was American type community.
We was kings.
Yeah, like the founding fathers, beat the Moorish Empire out of America. Columbus was just chasing the Moors over to America. That whole type of, that type of narrative. That the Moors are being mocked by the Freemasons. That the Freemasons, all these people, the Hoteps, that all these people, the whites conquered the Moorish or black Americans, made them slaves, told them they were slaves, did all this stuff, and then mocks them through their corrupted Freemasonry. They wear the apron to hide their tiny white penises, according to that's why white Freemasons use the apron, because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to be around the OG black Moorish scientists. No apron needed, okay? Let's just say.
Wait, so hold on, dude. Hold on.
Hang on. No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, because this is crazy, bro. Like, first of all, it's super creepy because all the stuff that they do is connected to children, right? To lure and attract children, kind of sort of thing, with the whole children's hospitals and circuses are more for kids.
Yeah.
But is it like about putting on? Is it about being able to put on a ritual in a sort of way where everyone is able to see it in the open. But hey, it's the circus. Like, we're not doing anything else. But then where do the animals come into play? Like, what were you talking about?
Yeah.
The animals and harvesting something from them? What is that?
Well, here, let's hang on. I was in the middle of explaining the Moors. Okay, I promise I won't talk about their junk anymore.
I know that's your favorite part, but go ahead.
The Moors, the Shriners dress up like Moors. We know that. Very often, you'll see in circus acts monkeys dressed up as Moors, and the Moors believe this, and you kind of have to be like, yeah. Why do we dress up monkeys in like Arabic clothing and make them dance for change? Moorish monkey, or search monkey with fez. Why does the monkey always have a fez? Why do monkeys always have fezzes in cartoons and movies and always has a fez? Because apparently, according to the Moorish scientist people, this is a subtle Hollywood mockery of the Moorish Empire. They're saying that the Moors are monkeys and the fezzes, they're circus, like a fool, like a circus performer. And so the circus, saying that the Moors are being portrayed as monkeys or foolish, you're connecting these potentially African empires in America. Well, if someone Moorish was crossing the Atlantic, they would be taking animals with them across the Atlantic, like animals you'd see in Morocco or North Africa, the camel, the elephant, tiger, cheetah, things like that. And these are the animals that you see in the circus. So if they're making fun of the Moorish aesthetic at the circus with the Shriner influence, could this also be how they're, some would say, discarding, covering up the animals? If there were Moors in America, they probably would have had camels. They would have had Moorish ships and Moorish, treasure and things like that. Animals to go along with it. Those animals, instead of getting slaughtered, I guess, the Freemasons decided to make a buck off them, imprison them, mock them too, I guess, mock the lifestyle, train them to do tricks and stupid shit. So yes, this is a whole bunch of wee was stuff, but there's a lot of, good kernels of truth to it, I think. And the Moorish monkey thing, I think, is definitely some type of propaganda, subtle subconscious propaganda. But the circus animals, according to this narrative, the circus animals, which are mostly African, are being disposed of or repurposed after the Civil War into circus animals. And today we still have the descendants of these circus animals, many of them on the black market, but most of them live in Florida. So there's something like 500 elephants in all of the Americas, and 90% of them live in Florida. Can you check me on that? How many elephants live in Florida?
So according to the AI, here, let me pull it up because I'm not seeing exact numbers here, but elephants live in Florida at White Oak Conservation, Two Tails Ranch, and the Mayaca Elephant Ranch. The White Oak Conservation, 2,500 acres. It doesn't say how many though.
Well, that's also not far. A lot of these elephant places are not far from Gibsonton. And part of Gibsonton and part of the whole circus performer population in Florida was that many of these towns, like Juan was saying earlier, had special regulations, special coding, special, unique accommodations for the elephants. And yeah, unique accommodations for elephants, small people, right? Like the post office had like a window that was like, tiny, and like a window that was super tall for giants, right? Sarasota had accommodations
Mm-hmm.
for circus performers because there were so many. And there were things like you weren't allowed to tie up that might be a Miami thing, but you weren't allowed to leave your elephant unattended. You had to get a driver's license or some shit like that. There was rules, about all the weird circus stuff that was around. And so, who knows, guys? Who knows? There is some stuff to the whole Moorish cover up of America. George Washington chopping down the cherry tree is apparently the founding fathers. The subtle kind of mythology of George Washington representing the founding fathers, covering up the alliance that they had with Morocco. Morocco being one of the first countries to recognize America as a new independent nation. And then one of the first things we did was kind of backstab Morocco by going after them for piracy. That was one of the first things America did on the world stage. And George Washington chopping down the cherry tree, never told a lie, right? Or stuff like that. No, that's Honest Abe. Sorry, Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln, right?
You might be getting your. I think
Yeah, I think I'm
Washington
getting
was
Washington,
the
but
tree.
Washington was the cherry tree, and the cherry tree is supposed to be the Moorish flag. Okay, the flag of Morocco, and America is supposed to be the feminine cross-Atlantic sister continent to Morocco, America, Morocco, America, right? Feminine, masculine. And Columbus. Columbus discovered America right after the Moors were expelled from Spain. Pretty much within the year. So there's a whole lot to this. All the Moorish architecture around Florida, especially the Tampa Bay area, where this whole circus community is kind of centered around. And all right, that's one side of this, is that the circus is a whole big cover-up for things that the Freemasons want forgotten or mocked. Now, to Juan's question, why do the Freemasons use like a circus? What's the point? You got to think about like sensory deprivation. They didn't have TV, right? 150 years ago, but they had the circus. And something that TV does is it like walls you in, like you get sucked into it, right? Well, with the tent, the circus tent, number one, it's red and white, just like the walls and the arches of Moorish architecture, the red and the white, the candy cane pattern. That's somewhat hypnotic. And you see the barber. Why does the barber have the red and the white? Well, is that because it's the Barbary coast of Africa, where the Moorish pirates were wreaking havoc? The red and the white of the Ringling Circus tent, the red and the white of the Knights Templar, the red and the white of the KKK, the Knights of the Golden Circle, all this, these are all the ingredients that were brewing in the Freemasonic South when the circus industry kind of comes up after the Civil War. For anyone who wants to kind of test how much of this is legit, go look up elephants in the Civil War, camels in the Civil War. Guys, you know that there was camels used in the Civil War?
I'm a Civil War denier, so
right.
I don't think it happened. But let's see here. President Abraham Lincoln politely declined an offer of elephants from the King of Siam,
yeah,
to use in the Civil War.
Yeah, it's in my elephant video. But camels were used.
Camels in the Civil War. Camels were used for reconnaissance and training, but were captured by Confederate forces early in the war. That's wild. Camels served in the U.S. Army during the Civil War, but they weren't widely used.
Yeah,
United States Camel Corps.
Total cover up. Camel core. That's what I'm talking about. They're using camels in the Civil War, guys. That's legit. There's prehistoric camels found all over Florida. Evidence of prehistoric camel, prehistoric horse, prehistoric elephant found all over Florida. So who knows, guys? Some of these animals could have been here all along. Is it too wild to consider?
I see it from a different perspective. And we're going to talk about Homunculus and link this all to Homunculus. And we know that the Freemasons, the way I've come to understand is that they took the lab work out of alchemy, so they're kind of purifying the soul, the man, whatever. Who cares, right? The reason the reason the exotic animal being lions and rhinos and all these, exotic animals as we would know them interests me is because this thing I'm going to pull up here. From tiger paws to bear testicles, the bizarre animal parts are on sale in China's medicine markets, where the more endangered a species is, the more healing qualities it is believed to have. So, the exotic animal penis market is a thing, okay? Because it's used for ED and all these.
Your mom's the CEO.
It's used for all these different ailments, and in my opinion, what somebody would believe to be special powers of sorts, right? There was recently an entire shipment of, I think it was like donkey penises that were stopped, that were being shipped from either Africa to China or something. I got to look it up, but it's interesting because in a 9th century grimoire, shut up, bro. In a 9th century grimoire, one of the ingredients to create a homunculus was to find the biggest dog penis you could find, and you had to beat a cow carcass to a pulp with it. Now, very interesting image. If you were to think of that, how would you know you had the biggest dog penis? Or can different animal penises make different homunculus? Can a rhinoceros penis make and we know that walrus penises were even used as weapons, and you can buy them online. You can actually buy the walrus penis bone, and it's used. They use it as a club, bro. Like they use it as an actual weapon. So I think that I when I think of the animals and the Freemasons and all this other stuff in the esoteric, I'm thinking this route. And the way that you're looking at it also makes sense, to where it's like
okay, so hang on. They have all the animals there in the tent performing.
Bro,
what does that have to do with penis soup?
Well, that answers the question as to why what do you need the exotic animals for? It's a circus. Hey, we're doing rituals in plain sight, right? Like, here, look at us, guys, and they're doing other stuff behind the scenes, bro.
You could also say that it's like symbolic, like they're bringing like animals in like one by one, saying like I don't know, maybe the order in which the animals are brought into the tent kind of like tells a story in alchemical symbolism. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
as well.
But no. Let's keep talking about the walrus.
Hey, dude. So you said the little aprons, right? The aprons are important because it's covering up the generative power that man has, or covering up their small wieners, or whatever it is. Like, it's all about. We know it's about the schlong, dude. Dr. Schlongo Longo, right? Like, that's the whole thing behind it.
Yep.
And dude, Egyptian architecture, the obelisk. What is the obelisk? The story of Genesis, they say that it was about reproduction, right? Like about discovering the activity of creating a baby, right? Like that whole thing, that's sexualness and everything. It's about regeneration. And alchemy falls into that too, where you can artificially create life. And bro, look at this. A walrus. Imagine death by walrus penis. Like, that'd be a crazy way to go. If you break into my house, you're getting the walrus dick to the head, bro. Like that's like 100%. Like that's what you're getting. Like you're gonna get beat down with this thing. And I was talking to somebody recently. I think his name was Headless Giant, and he said that usually when an animal dies, the first bone to go is the it's got a name. I forget the name for the penis bone, but the penis bone is like one of the first things to go.
It's called the one-on-one podcast, is what they call it.
Hey, dude, I'm just connecting dots, bro. I'm just trying to look for answers. All right. So death by walrus wiener. But seriously, a lot of cultures believe that eating of certain penises of other animals would bring, we're talking about the fountain of youth, the other day. It would cure their ED or their lack of performance or something like that. Like they believe that they would powderize it and they would take it in powdered form.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it has to do with, we can also talk about adrenochrome harvesting and the theory that at the circus, it's all, like you said, all there to get kids packed in. Kids go missing at the circus. People run away at the circus. Oh, everyone runs away at the circus, right? Go run away. Everyone gets told that. Oh, if things get tough, I'll just go join the circus. Yeah, no one will ever come looking for me as long as I just tell them I'm with the circus, right? What do you guys think? Are we on to something here with the missing kids, the circus, the Shriner Children's Hospital, the Shriner Circus?
The donkey penises.
I don't know. The donkey penis trade.
I'm serious, bro. This is an actual thing. It's a Hong Kong. It's Chinese medicine. They used every piece, right? You guys were talking about the urine therapy and the whole warming the urine up in the microwave, but the Chinese were using every single bit of human discharge and other things for medicinal reasons. Now, I'm not saying it works. I'm not here to advocate for it. These are some beliefs that some people hold. And we're talking about people who are usually into the esoteric and occult side of things, right? Because no one in their right mind would think of this. Like, let me eat some powderized donkey dick to see if I can cure my ED or whatever it is. These are secrets, right? I guess into maybe even witchcraft and other things, right? For spells and whatnot. So I wouldn't put it past them if the Freemasons were up to some gay stuff like that. I mean, they're into gay stuff already.
Yeah, the Shriners are definitely usually more sus than the Masons themselves because, like I said, you have to be a master Mason in order to join the Shriners. And they're called the Ancient Order, Ancient Noble Order, Ancient Order of the Noble. I don't fucking know. Ancient Order of the Noble Mystic Shrine, some shit like that.
Right here, I'll pull it up right here. It was right here. The Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine.
Yeah. Or now Shriners International. Headquartered out of Tampa Bay, Florida. That's the most Moorish revival architecture city in America. And they do all the elephant stuff. Guys, go watch my Elephant Uncovered Elephants of Atlantis video. Like a year old or so. You know how much they're abusing these elephants? Okay? It's not just the kids getting it bad. The elephants are treated like worse than animals that are going to get slaughtered. They get electrocuted all day. They get whipped just because they won't do the little tricks. The Feld family, totally evil lizards that are, the family in charge of the Ringling Circus now. Super evil. We don't have too much time to get into it. But they're like punishing these elephants. Apparently they got rid of all the elephants. Thank God. Recently. But it was this whole big conspiracy where they had hidden cameras. They had spies. They hired a secret agent to follow around the animal rights advocates. Yeah.
Wow.
The Ringling Circus got in trouble for spying on their critics. Right? Like planting double agents in the agencies that are trying to go after them. Yeah, crazy stuff. Well, the Ringlings built this big old mansion in Sarasota. And blah, blah, blah. What else can we say? The circus, just real quick with the adrenochrome harvesting, the idea would be all the new sights and smells. The tent is up. It looks like one of those, like a kind of hypnotism thing. You're getting hypnotized. The sounds, the smells, almost everything that walks into the tent is going in a circle, right? Whether it's the motorcycles, the elephants, going in a ring, in a ring, in a ring, ringling, ringling, going around. The ringleader, right? They've got the hoop, they've got the staff, the rings and the wand play a big role. That's kind of magical right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the good-looking women, the big beasts, the big animals. I think that it's just maximum stimulation. A whole part of this is that, how many kids are afraid of the circus, terrified of clowns, especially afraid of clowns or afraid of the circus?
Or even Santa Claus too.
And I think that's because it has something to do with this whole adrenochrome harvesting conspiracy, that the circus was meant to terrify or just to get like the whole range of emotions kind of dumping hormones into the blood. I know this is kind of creepy, and again, this isn't like what I think about all day, but this is
You're gonna have to take this video down, bro.
Whatever, we'll be okay. That this theory is that the circus is meant to like overstimulate the body, make people want to like leave their parents, leave their life. Oh my God, look at all the fried food, the sweets, everything's available. You can live for cheap. All you have to do is like hang around and follow them and do a little work and they'll let you in. And yeah, the clowns, people can go look this up for themselves. Nephilim, clowns, adrenochrome, whatever. We won't say it all. But that's the thing, is that why are the Shriners involved with all this stuff? Why is it children's hospitals and donating to children and needy children this, needy children that? The circus is making fun of the Moors. The Shriners seem to be behind it all. And people can, stitch together the rest there. We don't want to get in too much trouble on YouTube, like Juan said. But
yeah, this is news to me. I didn't know the Shriner Circus connection, and it makes a lot of sense. That they would be into that, and I wonder what else they're into. That they're also into zoos, right? I've been to zoos before where there'll be a bench, and the bench has a Freemasonic emblem on it, and it's like donated by Freemasonic Lodge 666 or whatever it is. So it's about animals, and like all these places where children congregate and go to. So yeah, that's super creepy, man.
Also, carnies or gypsies, carnies are usually just gypsies and kind of, I hate to say it, but very often the scum of society. People who are okay with people who either are criminals themselves or are okay with being a part of kind of a criminal organization,
watch it.
hey,
Watch it. That's what I got pinged for, bro.
No, that's not, dude.
That is what I got pinged for. I'm telling you.
Okay, but you're talking about promoting criminal organizations. We're just talking about one. If I say,
and we don't condone that behavior.
We don't condone anything.
We're against it. I love Hillary Clinton and I love the government and the CIA and all that stuff. So and I love our justice system. It's good, and we need order and stuff. Just in case, bro. Because I took the school today to get my strike removed after a certain time, and that was part of the schooling. So I was reading about what you were able to do and not do. That's what I'm telling you. Just tread lightly when it comes to talking about that. All right.
Okay. What else? I guess we can talk about. We talked about mermaid. We talked about alligator man. Some of the little hybrid creatures that might have been people claim were in Florida before. We should also, I guess, talk about Dogface a little bit. about the sheriff being dog face. Can you look up dog men or the mythology, the history of dog people, dog faced? I think Alexander the Great saw some on his travels. I know that much.
St. Augustine also talked about them too.
Whoa, this movie's largely, or this episode is largely centered. It draws from St. Augustine. It's not set in St. Augustine, but whatever.
I'm saying St. Augustine talked
about
them.
Yeah, I know. But the city's named after St. Augustine.
Yeah.
So here, let's read through this.
So cynocephaly was familiar to ancient Greeks from representation of the Egyptian god Duamut, Wawet, Anubis, the heads of jackals, the Greek
that
word.
Wet ass pussy.
I got that. Wow.
Wet.
Dog-headed also identified a sacred Egyptian baboon with a dog-like face rather than literally depicting a hybrid human-animal state. These cynocephalic portrayals of deities conveyed those deities' therianthropic ability to shift between fully human and fully animal states. In an ancient Egyptian hybrid image, the head represents the original form of the being depicted, so that, as the Egyptologist Henry Fisher put it, a lion-headed goddess is a lion goddess in human form, while a royal sphinx, conversely, is a man who has assumed the form of a lion. What the fuck? This non-literal approach to depicting deities may have confused visitors from Greece, leading them to believe that Egyptians worshipped cynocephalic gods, or even that mortal cynocephalic entities populated Egypt. Right. So a lot of people talk about this being evidence that these were actual cynocephali, or whatever they call them. But apparently it was a representation of that. What isn't there a ancient, Atlantis connection where wasn't their downfall from messing with like hybrid animals and stuff like that towards the end of the empire? Have you heard about that before?
Yeah, that's been said by a couple people. Yeah.
So almost like some alchemical chimeric transmutations that they were probably doing, and that's what it's all about, perverting what God has already made, right? To make something different that God hasn't made. So you're taking on that role and you're inverting it, which is, again, some would see that as the evil. Reports of dog-headed races can also be traced back to Greek antiquity. In the 5th century BC, the Greek physician Ctesias, I don't know how to say that, in his Indica wrote a detailed report on the existence of cynocephali in India. Similarly, the Greek traveler Megasthenes claimed to know about dog-headed people in India who lived in the mountains, communicated through barking, wore the skins of wild animals, and lived by hunting. See, these aren't actual like representations. These are people talking about they're actually being dog-headed people. Claudius Anus also mentioned the dog-headed tribes in India, and he too wrote that they are of human shape and clothed in the skins of beasts. He also added that although they have no speech and how to communicate, they were capable of understanding the Indian language. Herodotus reported claims by ancient Libyans that such creatures inhabit the east of their lands, East Coast, right? As well as headless men and various other anomalies. So the best estimate for this place where the battle between the Argonauts and the cynocephali took place is modern day North Serbia or South Hungary. Some Greek writers also mentioned the Hemicynes, singular Hemision, meaning half dogs, late antiquity. So we have, who'd you say, Alexander? Right here, St. Augustine of Hippo.
I was wrong.
I think I've seen that before though. I could have swore I've seen Alexander talking about that, but definitely St. Augustine talked about it. St. Christopher, right? The dog-headed saint. In Eastern Orthodox Church, certain icons covertly identified St.
Look at this. Augustine, I guess, up there saying, but insisted that if they were human, they were indeed descendants of Adam. Like Adam. That's interesting.
Yeah, and he also talked about the city of, I was going to say the city of God, and it's in a particular book where he talked about these entities existing, and he considered the possibility that they might not exist at all or might not be human, which Augustine defines as being mortal and rational animal, homo. So they were homo, but instead, if they were human, they were indeed descendants. Yeah, that's crazy. Saint Christopher. Christopher, pictured with the dog's head, is not generally supported by the Orthodox Church, as the icon was prescribed to the 18th century by Moscow.
Okay, just skip down. See who else talked about him.
A legend that placed Andrew the Apostle and Bartholomew the Apostle among the Parthians presented the case of Abominable, the citizens of the city of cannibals, whose face was like unto that of a dog. After receiving baptism, however, he was released from his doggish aspect.
All right, just skim through this. Just throw out some names. Ibn Battuta, this guy.
From 1325, so 14th century.
All right, who else? Just skip. It's not that important. Medieval West.
Just Paul the Deacon. The Noel Codex. I'm not seeing any other names here that
English, apparently. Marco Polo, apparently.
Oh, Christopher Columbus reported that the Taino were familiar with the Sino sound. I knew them. Oh,
damn.
I was gonna say them dirty Puerto Ricans had something to do with the.
You guys ate them. You guys ate them all.
We robbed them and then we ate them, right?
You ate them all.
You got China. The Buddhists describing an island of dog-headed men in the east of Fung Sang. Nation visited. Who else? Modern appearances. Ghost Rider. Nah, this is all like movies and shit.
Plays a role in mythology. And yeah, the sheriff is a dog-headed man, or they say he's just hairy, but eventually he's just normal. His hair falls out. Yeah, so basically, the sheriff is one of these dog men. I don't know if one of those has ever been reported in Florida or what.
There's a video. You want to see it?
Let's go for it. Let's hit it.
Let me pull it up. So apparently there was this video in Fort Pierce. I want you to see this and let me know what you think. I have my own suspicions as to what it could be. But this is allegedly dogman type creature spotted in Fort Pierce. This is 2021. Some people misidentify these creatures for kangaroos, blah, blah, blah. So here it goes. Ready?
Definitely just a chupacabra.
Oh, here we go. I need you to listen to the audio, though. Hold on.
All right.
This is kind of funny.
It went away.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay.
To share audio. Whatever. Who cares? I can't share the audio because it's gonna echo. It's fine. Here. All right, here we go. This is a dog man in Florida. Oop, there we go.
We really can't hear it?
Right there.
What?
Did you see it?
No.
All right, watch. Right there, that thing running.
What?
Right here. That thing.
Whatever.
That's what they say is this dude was live streaming, right? What I think this was is a mosquito flying in front of the camera. That's what it looks like to me.
Could be.
Right? Like a big ass mosquito like flying in front of the thing, and it kind of looks like it's something by the light here, but people were freaking out because allegedly this was a dogman sighting because this guy was live streaming. Okay. And he's like, hey, there's something outside my door. Like, I'm gonna show you guys what it is. And he starts streaming it on live with the comments and everything. And then this thing allegedly running pops up, and that was it. But I think it was a mosquito flying by the right there. You can kind of see it's like close to the camera, and it looks big, right? Right there. I think that's a mosquito, bro. And we got big ass mosquitoes here in Florida.
Yeah, it looks like a mosquito.
Right?
Yeah. Whatever.
Dog
person seen in Florida. And all right. Well, then there's Alligator Man. So we did bring up Jake the Alligator Man, but that kind of is a little bit of a reference to reptilians, a little bit, right? Reptile man. They say he's got scaly skin. He's got some issue where he's just got a skin defect, but he's a normal guy.
It's a real condition too, by the way, where you get like scales. I would pull pictures, but they're kind of graphic, of people with this, and they look reptilian. I mean, you know, there's a couple of pictures of babies and stuff like that, and they look like little reptilians.
Argonian. Lusty Argonians.
What is that? Is that from Game of Thrones or something?
Yeah, almost. Skyrim. Look at search Argonian.
Wasn't that in the Game of Thrones lore though? Wasn't her dad or something? Didn't he have a condition where he was turning
grayscale?
Right? I know the white dude that was in love with Daenerys had that because he was touched by one of them. And once you're touched by one of those people, they turn you into a reptilian type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull it up here. So yeah, Game of Thrones scaly skin refers to a disease known as grayscale, which causes a person's skin to become thick, cracked, and scaly, resembling stone-like texture. It is a deadly, contagious disease. And yeah, it was Prince Garn's curse. So it was a thing in there. And obviously, right, the House of the Dragons is a big thing in Game of Thrones. So yeah, when I think of a big lizard like Jake the Alligator Man here, it makes me think of that. And did I ever ask you, do you believe in dinosaurs, bro?
No.
You don't believe in dinosaurs? You think it was a psyop?
Yeah. Dinosaur to me, is there such a thing as extinct animals? 100%. Woolly mammoth, mastodon, megalodon, saber-toothed tiger. Things like that we can find all over Florida. All over.
Mm-hmm.
No conspiracy. Okay, they're spread out all throughout the rivers and this. And that does show us like a landscape that was totally different from today. The animals were huge. The climate was different. But humans were still there. Humans were there all along. The dinosaur psyop is that there was millions of years with no humans, just giant creatures, tearing each other to shreds, no humans, an entire world absent of human experience, human perception, human history. No, not a chance. That's the psyop, is they have this giant reptilian hellscape that goes on for millions of years. Where's God in all that? Where's the grand design and grand plan of nature? That's the psyop, is that they take us out of the Bible, they take humanity out of the equation, and they say, oh, humanity, yeah, we're a recent little thing. We just came up. We just showed up on Earth. So anything that goes wrong on Earth, it's humanity's issue. We're the new disease, the new virus that's plaguing Earth. They've got us completely backwards, and dinosaurs are at the center of that. Because the oil's dinosaurs. Oh, petroleum's all dinosaur juice. Oh, yeah. And the kids are fucking brainwashed left and right. Before they're even fucking 6 years old, they can name half the fucking species of dinosaurs. They don't know what the goddamn country, what the goddamn capital of their state is, the capital of the country they live in. They don't know the fucking presidents. They don't know the fucking jack shit about jack shit. But they're 6 years old, and they know every fucking species of dinosaur, okay? It's like, oh yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Fucking.
Another sticker idea. I've seen fossilized dicks.
Yeah,
Write
that's
that one down, bro. So damn, bro, you calling out Dr. Dino? Old Kent Hovind? You disagree with his idea and dinosaurs being a part of the Bible and stuff?
there's extinct animals. Some of them were probably big reptiles, but I don't believe in the dinosaur narrative, which is an entire human-free hellscape Earth. I don't believe in the dinosaur paradigm, the dinosaur psyop.
I have a conspiracy. I don't know if you want to hear it or not. It's kind of racist. I don't know we should say it
well,
on YouTube or not.
take it easy, or just say an alien race instead of.
So the right, the concept that chickens are related to dinosaurs. And we know that there's a certain race of people who love the chicken, right? And they love eating it. And I think that maybe perhaps by them presenting this and having people eat of the chicken, which is related to this reptilian thing, it's kind of sort of worshiping their reptilian gods in some sort of way, you know?
Yeah, got a lot of them in New Orleans and Louisiana too, and they eat a lot of alligator and
Oh, wow.
frogs in Louisiana, New Orleans, amphibian, reptilian life forms.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure.
Have you ever tasted alligator?
I have, yeah, at a Bass Pro Shop a couple different times. They had a restaurant attached to a Bass Pro Shops
Tastes like shit.
down here. It's like chicken and a little bit chewier. It's like chewy
Yeah.
chicken, kind of.
Tastes like shit, bro. 100%. Doesn't taste like
Yeah.
chicken at all. It's like super gamey and just yeah, I don't like the taste of it, but that's a little conspiracy I have as to hey, make the people love it, make the people eat our gods, literally enter their bodies, and you know, these other things. If you look at history, it tells you something else. That was the only meat that was available to them. Sure, I mean, I guess, right? So what else do we got here, bro? We have the Circus connection, Gibsonton being a hub for circus freaks, carnies, things of that nature. We have the Alligator Man coming from the Florida swamps, allegedly. What else?
It's homunculus time, bro. I think that's almost everything except the homunculus.
So,
well, we could talk about the title. A humbug is a person or object that behaves in a deceptive or dishonest way, often as a hoax or in jest. The term was first described in 1751 as student slang and recorded in 1840 as a nautical phrase. Yeah. Humbug means like a charlatan kind of, or a, trickster, liar, ruse kind of artist, you could say.
I didn't even look that up, bro. I thought that was part of the episode. Again, we didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this episode, so please bear with us. But all right, so the homunculus, right? I've speculated that Juan Ponce de Leon being 5'2", we don't know when he was
like
born.
4'11".
Was he? Yeah, super short. Like he was a small little man. And it's interesting. I couldn't do this before the show because again, we didn't have a lot of time to prepare. We literally prepared like an hour or two before the show. But there's a company in Jupiter, Florida, that will actually create a homunculus for you. Okay.
Shut up.
No, I promise you. I promise you. Check this out, dude. I looked this up when I was doing a little bit of quick research, and I couldn't do it myself.
Well, hang on. Just you should. What is a homunculus? I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't know, dude. Get into it. Break it down for us, dude. We got 15 minutes.
Depending on who you ask, a homunculus essentially is an artificial life form. In alchemy, it's an artificial life form created through alchemy in the 16th century. And Paracelsus, the father of toxicology, was the first person to coin the word. He also coined the word gnome and sylph and element, various elementals. He coined a lot of words. And the homunculus, aside from other things that you could achieve in alchemy, various magnum opii, I guess you could call it, right? The elixir of life, the philosopher's stone, the rebus, various things you could do with alchemy. Alchemy is a multifaceted, interdimensional topic. And it's interesting because we talked about the fountain of youth and all these other things in previous episodes. But the alchemists were also trying to look for the key to immortality, and some had allegedly figured it out. But at its core, alchemy is about turning base metals into gold, projecting them to their purest forms. And then it gets into a more mystical, interdimensional aspect to where it's about harnessing unlimited energy. Fulcanelli allegedly predicted nuclear power 5 years before the Manhattan Project, and the OSS went looking for the immortal alchemist Fulcanelli, because he said that it was the secret to alchemy was about harnessing this energy, and then once you achieve the magnum opus, you were able to step outside of space and time and manipulate it from the outside. And within alchemy is this little thing called the homunculus, where the practitioner that would make this thing, the alchemist that would make this artificial life form, and the Jewish version is a golem, which is a man made out of dirt or clay, and he's animated through the use of word magic.
Right? Golem, like Gollum, right?
Yeah, Gollum, yeah. They believe that their language is sacred so that they could animate things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the homunculus is more of a blood and bones miniature human. That's what it means, small man. And these alchemists would create this homunculus. And some stories talk about, Paracelsus talks about, hey, you can let them grow into old age and set them out into the wild, and they would become mystical beasts. Some would become giants, others would become dwarfs. So if you think of like a leprechaun is kind of sort of like a little homunculus. He's protecting gold. What's the goal of alchemy? To get gold, right? And then in other cases, they would use the homunculus for various magical rituals. Now, some people say it was to acquire godlike powers, become impervious to pain, talk to demons, see demons, make trees grow, drive someone insane. You can use various parts of it, of the homunculus's body. You chop it up and dissect it and vivisect it. Its liver wrapped in the skin of its forehead would let you see demons and things of that nature, right? Things like that. And other people describe it as wanting to become God, right? Because again, how I mentioned earlier, during the Atlantean times where they were doing this sort of manipulation of DNA with various animals and beasts and things of that nature, chimeras, you're creating an imperfect form of something perfect that God has already created. You're trying to emulate God. You're trying to become God, right? So when they say that the mad scientist, right, Frankenstein, it's alive, which is another version of a homunculus, right? He's a chimera pieced together from various parts. Allegedly, Mary Shelley had heard stories of alchemists in that area when she was traveling around that had allegedly animated cadavers. And that's where she got her story from, her inspiration for Frankenstein. And so
Frankensteinberg.
Yeah. So the concept of a mad scientist creating this abomination, some have speculated that the scientist is possessed and was led to create this abomination. That's why he did it, right? Because he was being possessed. Some people have called the homunculus an artificial demon, because there are stories in various literature that homunculus have no souls. So you have the aspect of maybe demons or Nephilim can inhabit the bodies of these homunculi. Where does alchemy come from? It comes from the Nephilim. The bloodline of Noah, some trace it back to Hermes Trismegistus. All of Noah and Noah's sons, they were all allegedly using alchemy. And that's how they were able to live for so long. Some alchemists think that the book of Genesis was actually an encoded message on how to create the Philosopher's Stone. Again, there's various interpretations of this, but the homunculus, could be used to be your friend, right? It was a magical entity that came from alchemy, which is magic, so it could see the future. It could bring the moon down from the sky for you, could move the celestial bodies for you. Or then you could use it as a sort of utility knife of the occult, where you could chop it up and use its various parts to gain powers. You could anoint your feet in its blood and you could walk on water. things like that, right? And then another aspect of it was a consciousness transference, to where you could create this host, and the alchemist was able to transfer his essence or his consciousness to it to live forever. Okay, so the homunculus has various stories throughout history. That's a quick lowdown breakdown of what a homunculus is and what it's used for, why it's created. For Paracelsus, it was more of a philosophical thing. It was about some would view it as, in my opinion, I think that's the true magnum opus. If you truly want to, become a god, you can create life, right? And they're doing it nowadays. And the funny part about the homunculus that brings it all into perspective is that we know test tube babies are a thing, right, Longo? We know that they're a thing. We know they're creating animals in artificial matrices. We know that they're growing them, right, in artificial matrices. And the idea of human clones has been a concept since, at least, right, the Raelianism stuff. That was what, 2000s? As of recently, they've made a mouse without a father. Oh no, they made a mouse that came from two fathers. They're creating artificial embryos in labs. Now, the funny part about that was in Israel, right, out of all places. The law says that an embryo needs to be disposed of after 14 days. Those are the laws for an embryo. What are the laws for an artificial embryo, a copy of that?
Right.
There are none, right? So they created a copy of something to try, in my opinion, to navigate around that. And bro, Crowley wrote about the homunculus. Jack Parsons wrote about the homunculus.
Yeah.
So by definition, we have Crowley writing about the homunculus, and he broke it down. Hey, you don't have to gather the dog dicks. You don't have to do any of that. You just copulate at a certain astrological alignment, certain time of day, certain time of year, and you invoke the elemental or the deity that you want to invoke into the fetus, which he believed didn't have a soul up until the second month. And voila, you have a homunculus. That's what the story The Moon Child was all about. That allegedly inspired Jack Parsons to do his Babylon working ritual with L. Ron Hubbard in 1946, 47, whenever it was, right? People talked about him ripping a rift in space and time. That's how you got Roswell and all that stuff. But again, this concept of the homunculus, this thing being birthed from you, from the alchemist, it is a piece of you, is linked in this episode because the twin came out of the body of what was his name? Lenny?
Yeah. Lanny and Leonard.
And part of the archetypal story of AI, Terminator, the Golem, Frankenstein, what happens in those stories? Mini-Me? Yeah,
Austin
yeah.
Powers, Mini-Me, which is like a caricature of all the like evil, twisted masterminds of like all the different. He's got a Mini-Me. He's got a homunculus.
What happens in these stories of Frankenstein, the Terminator with the AI, and the Golem? Its creation always goes on a rampage and destroys everything, unalives people. What happened in this episode? Linking it to homunculus, his brother, his I don't know if I'd call it his creation, but his thing went out and started going on a rampage.
Yeah, and drinking's what did it too. They said that his liver was failing, which is why the small twin needed to find a new host. That's something maybe we didn't mention, was this little thing. It wasn't just killing for fun. It was looking to find a new host that it could go into and stay alive in. And only its twin brother was able to do that. Everyone else that it bit into, it killed them. So it was looking for a new host. But yeah, homunculus in Florida. So now tell us about this Jupiter homunculus place. Now that we're up to speed on what the homunculus is.
So this company in Jupiter you can actually, it'll actually create a homunculus for you. Now, the interesting part about homunculus is that it's an actual medical term. A homunculus, we all have homunculus in our brains. And what a homunculus is, let me see if I can pull up a picture of it. Everyone has seen the cortex, man, the sensory homunculus. And what science says is that overlaid over our brains is a neural map of our body. And the interesting part about this is that there's a depiction of a homunculus, which is the cortex man with the big hands, big mouth, disproportionate, and it's supposed to show which parts of your body your brain uses in an illustrational form. The interesting part about that is that your brain doesn't see your body the way that we do. We have hands and mouths and feet and stuff like that. And if there was an actual accurate depiction of a homunculus, it'd look more like a monstrosity or like a blob, because your brain isn't able to tell, where your wrist ends at the end of your arm, or where the tip of your fingers are in relation to the length of your fingers and things like that, right? So you'd actually look like that thing in the in the X-Files where it's like a monstrosity. And this particular company out of Jupiter, Florida, it gives you instructions on how to create your own homunculus. So you're supposed to print this out, and you're supposed to measure your feet and head and all this stuff, and then you enter the results and you get your own little, what will your homunculus look like? Again, I didn't have a chance to try it, but technically they help you create a homunculus, which is an actual medical word. So the cortex man, I don't want to show him because sometimes has his dick out. Hold on. So the cortex man, let me make sure that this one is appropriate. Okay, this one's appropriate. So the cortex man is supposed to illustrate which parts of your body, the bigger they are, the more they're used by your brain, right? So we all talk, we all eat, we all breathe, we all touch things. And this is a neural map way, essentially, is what it is. And here he is again, the sensory homunculus, motor homunculus.
Okay. So they make that in Jupiter, but it's not a real homunculus. Like, they don't collect your spunk in a vial.
No, that's 23andMe, bro. That's what happens when you send your stuff into 23andMe. They make a real clone of you in some lab somewhere.
So, what about real homunculuses? Like, aren't there people on YouTube who claim to make real homunculi?
Listen, I can't prove to you if the homunculus is real or not, bro. I can
show us some of the cum bubbles in your basement. You got.
I
so hard
present the stories. Do I believe that maybe perhaps once or twice they were able to replicate the right conditions? Maybe. I mean, who knows, right? We don't know. We know that you can make gold from other metals, right? You need like nuclear power to be able to do that, right? It's possible, which is the whole concept of alchemy, but you would need modern technology. And the fact that they're able to grow animals in artificial matrices, which is the whole concept of alchemy as well, in the homunculus, I think maybe that they did do it once or twice. Once in a lifetime sort of thing. Who knows? And it doesn't even matter because the homunculus concept has been broken down, such as Aleister Crowley illustrated it, which I think Epstein and all these guys were doing the same thing at the Zorro Ranch, but that's a whole other thing. With the files coming out soon, allegedly. But he said, that's fine. Take the lab work out. Take, like the Freemasons, take the lab work out. Do it under these conditions, and you will give birth to a homunculus. And I think instead of these people in power being reptilians, how people say, right? Oh, they're actual lizard people. I think they're homunculus, bro, because Longo, that a lot of these elites, they use surrogacy, right? They make sure that their kids come out on certain astrological alignments, which is talismanic magic, right? A homunculus is a blood and bones talisman, essentially. It's created under a certain condition to bring forth the essence of whatever elemental they're trying to invoke. So I think that a lot of people who are in power, you've even talked about it, Longo, where they exhibit their astrological alignments on themselves, on the caricature of themselves, right? Like who is it? Salvador Dali with the handlebars and the anteater. right? He radiates that Taurus energy, and I think that the people who are put in certain positions, which you've pointed out before on various episodes, they have those attributes because they were born under a certain time alignment, place, whatever. We know that's a thing. So the whole lab work has been taken out. Now it's fully astrological. Crowley wrote about it. He wrote an entire instructional book on how to do it, which is what Jack Parsons, the the founder of NASA, pretty much, right? Of JPL, he took it literally. And he did just that with L. Ron Hubbard. And some people say he succeeded with Marjorie Cameron. And he manifested the Scarlet Woman because he believed he was saving humanity. He believed he was balancing humanity out because there was too much masculine energy.
Yeah, this also ties back into The Devil's Advocate and Rosemary's Baby a little bit.
You got it.
With the satanic, demonic impregnation ritual. But yeah, we're at 2 hours here. That's usually where we cut it. I think we got through everything. The Freemasonic Circus connection, and then Homunculus, right? The murderous Homunculus, a joined twin, and a whole lot more sprinkled in between. But again, short notice on this episode. We weren't planning on talking about this tonight.
Yep.
Had a guest fall through on us, but no sweat.
They looked up the channel, bro. They looked up Old World Florida, saw your stream from last night. We're like, yo.
Yeah. He was like, honey, kids, come look at the channel I'm going to be on tomorrow night. And they were watching our show last night.
Yikes. No, yeah. Hey, dude, it happens all the time. And again, I don't get butthurt when people cancel. I get no's all the time. Hey, I looked at your stuff. I don't like it. Cool. We keep on moving. It's part of the game. It happens. It's not going to be the first time it happens. We're going to probably try and have another guest on who's going to flake on us. And hopefully he's okay. Nothing happened to him, right? But who knows? Yeah, this is short notice, but I think we still did good and we're able to scrape together this episode.
Yeah, guys, and this coming Thursday, we're going to try and do Yuli's Gold. Right? Juan?
I guess.
Yep, Yuli's Gold. That'll be the movie we're doing.
We're going to tie it to what part of Florida was that?
Northeast Florida, Volusia County, I think.
Volusia?
Yulee. There's Yulee, Florida.
Yulee, Florida, and
the place.
And the Jews with the gold, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll do that up.
Civil War gold gone missing.
Civil War was a psyop, bro. Never happened.
Right.
Can we say that on YouTube? You can't deny the other thing, right? But you can deny the Civil War?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why
you can deny the elephant slaughter, the elephant massacre, the multi-generational Moorish elephant slaughter. All right. Bro. That's it for tonight, everyone.
See you next Thursday. This was fun long ago. And as always, everyone, make sure to follow me on my backup channel, One-on-One Media. I did get demonetized from the main channel. I won't be posting on there until I try and fight the strike. And I've been uploading all of our Coquina Cowboy episodes, which I think we have like 25 episodes over on the Occult History and Symbolism podcast feed. So if you guys want to listen to the audio only, make sure to check that out on Apple, Spotify, any podcast platform. I have 20 something episodes already uploaded on there. So go back in time and listen to some of the stuff that we've talked about.
Sure, yeah, guys. We're signing off here. See you next week.
See you
That's
guys. You don't want to plug anything else?
Whatever. Old World, Florida. Can donate for some dinner tonight if you guys want.
Some shekels. I think we got a couple. I think we got one. Well, a $4.99. There you go. I was on your channel.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not hosting. Juan's hosting tonight. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
Couldn't see. That's all right.
Yo, so shout out to Vehicular Alchemy.
Vehicular Alchemy says with the $4.99. Hey boys, I hope all is well down south. I found some good Victorian stuff in the small towns up here in Georgia. Mention the X patents. Huh. I also wanted to make the joke that X-File, it's like, might be like kind of a Hollywood tongue-in-cheek, like X PDF file. Like if you were once if you were once a PDF file and you're no longer a PDF file, you're just an X file.
No, the way I've heard it put, according to the Dark Journalist, is that when the X files from Twitter X start to get leaked, when they were censoring everything, they're going to be called the X Files. So when people look it up, X Files, they get this show instead of the actual X Files. So it's a sort of way of getting people off track.
40 years or 30 years ahead of time, they were getting people ready for that predictive programming cover up.
Who knows?
They do that. That's what Yuli's Gold is all about. Yuli's Gold almost has nothing to do with the real Yuli's Gold. So that's a clear example of that tactic where just total distraction, Hollywood movie, but
all good. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Appreciate you, Longo. And as always, everyone stay safe, love each other, and peace.
Night night.